In today's video, we will be talking about the cycles of life. The cycles we will be talking about today include the water, the carbon cycle, and the nitrogen cycle. So, let's get into it.
The water cycle involves many things that transport water all around the world. The main parts of the water cycle are a form of water going up into the atmosphere. Evaporation, sublimation, and transpiration are parts of this. Evaporation is when liquid water gets turned into water vapor and goes up into the atmosphere. Sublimation is when solid water turns straight into water vapor, also sending it up into the atmosphere. And transpiration is when the water vapor passes through the leaves and goes up into the atmosphere. A form of water going down into the biosphere is precipitation. It is when a form of water like snow, rain, or hail go down into the biosphere. A form of water being stored, sometimes drained, and it repeats the cycle, is infiltration, which is when a form of water infiltrates the ground and water goes through it. Percolation, which is when the water going through holes in the ground, creating groundwater, which is simply water in the ground, and surface runoff, which is a form of water flowing on the surface. The water cycle is a cycle that transports water all around the world and can be used to help in many ways.
The carbon cycle. The carbon cycle is also a cycle that transports a substance all around the world. That substance is carbon. Carbon dioxide is the substance many living things, including us, exhale. The main parts of the cycle are plants and animals. Organism respiration, photosynthesis, transfer between organisms, and plant and animal decomposition are the parts of this. Organism respiration is organisms in and exhaling. Photosynthesis is how the plants breathe. Transfer between organisms is when carbon is transferred or shared between organisms. And plant and animal decomposition is when plants and animals decompose and turn into fossil fuels, which leads on to the next part, fossil fuels. Humans, we collect fossil fuels to use it as an energy source so we can use it to basically live better and thrive and learn. And respiration. The parts of this are oceanic respiration and organism respiration. Oceanic respiration is when carbon goes into the hydrosphere, oceans. Marine life collects it, gives it, and shares it to the other marine life, and then the carbon goes back into the atmosphere. Organism respiration is when organisms breathe. The carbon cycle is vital for life on Earth because it provides respiration and an energy source which is very helpful to humans.
Nitrogen is the most abundant gas in the atmosphere. It is found in soil, plants, and the air we breathe, and is even in the building blocks for DNA. The nitrogen cycle is the flow of nitrogen. The stages of the nitrogen cycle are nitrogen fixation. A very quick summary of this is when the gas form of nitrogen gets deposited into soil from the atmosphere and surface water, mostly by precipitation, and the nitrogen then changes into ammonia. Nitrification, which is a funny word. This process is when the ammonia is converted into nitrate. Assimilation. This is when the primary consumers of the food web eat the plants and give nitrate to them. And then, denitrification. This process is when the nitrate gets converted back into gaseous forms of nitrogen and goes back into the atmosphere. This is the final stage of the nitrogen cycle and can be only done in the absence of oxygen. This same cycle can be done within the marine ecosystem, and this happens with marine bacteria. Overall, nitrogen is very important on life on Earth, and everywhere. And if there wasn't any nitrogen, there wouldn't be any of us.
To conclude, we have learnt about the water cycle, the carbon cycle, and the nitrogen cycle. We have learnt about the stages of each cycle, and we have also learnt that each cycle is vital to Earth. All the cycles explained in this video are very much needed for plants and animals to survive. Thanks for watching.